I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
You must listen. What I'm about to tell you will change the course of history.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Like, they even sit here and say they was picking out what they was wearing to the funeral. They sit down here and we was talking about what colors we was going to wear and what we was going to do. And they sit here and say, pick out what they was wearing to the funeral.
This article is from people.com, and it is in regard to an update of Shanquilla Robinson's case. All right. The article is written by Becca Longmire. So let's get into it. Shanquilla Robinson's family files lawsuit against her friends 2 years after her mysterious unaliving in Mexico. We need justice. All right, so I'm going to read a little bit about this article, and this is her. So Shanquilla Robinson's family wants justice 2 years after her mysterious unaliving in Mexico. All right, we use unaliving as code because certain terms can cause you to be flagged on here. So just, get the gist of the code words I'm using. All right. And this is also dubbed the Cabo Six, representing her 6 friends. Her travel mates have allegedly insisted she passed away of alcohol poisoning, but an autopsy conducted by Mexican authorities showed her unaliving was caused through violence, specifically atlas and medullary dislocation. So basically, like neck damage internally. As questions surrounded her unaliving remain unanswered 2 years on, Shanquilla's mother, Ms. Robinson, filed a lawsuit against the Cabo Six, as well as the U.S. Department of State and Federal Bureau of Investigation. And the references here is WBTV and the Charlotte Observer. So the documents posted by WBTV states that the damages that was caused were in excess of $25,000 from each of the 6 people that Shanquilla was traveling with at that time. So this is the update that we have now. Currently, there's no one actually serving time for what has happened to her, but this is just another unfortunate case of tolerating frenemies. Like, you got to be careful. If you can feel the vibes are off, it may be saving your life if you trust that decision, that discernment to stay away from certain people. It's unfortunate what happened to her, so rest in peace, Shanquilla Robinson. I'm going to also include other clips from other commentary in regard to this particular case, so stay tuned.
Did Shanquilla's friends really lure her to Cabo with the intention to hurt her and plan her death?
When they got back from the trip with her luggage, what did they tell you happened to your daughter?
That she got sick from drinking. It was alcohol.
Even though it has been weeks since Shanquilla Robinson has passed away, the entire internet is still angry and demanding answers. And just when we thought there was no way that this case could get any worse, the authorities have released some new details and evidence that suggest her death was not an accident and was in fact planned by her own friends. But why did they hate Shanquilla that much? Why did they really do it? And what is the FBI saying about this tragedy? Shanquilla Robinson's death has thrown the entire community into confusion in the weeks following the incident. For those who haven't been following the story, we're going to give you a quick breakdown of the case before we get into the latest details. Shanquilla went with 6 friends to Cabo, Mexico for a birthday trip for one of their friends. They left from North Carolina, and Shanquilla was in perfect health when she left. The friends she left with were Malik Dyer, Winter Donovan, Elise Hyatt, DAEJHANAE Jackson, her best friend KHALIL Cook, and Nazir Wiggins. But Nazir has come forward to claim that he arrived in Cabo a day after the rest of the group and that he wasn't there when the events occurred that led to her death. According to Shanquella's mother, KHALIL called her the day after they landed in Cabo to tell her that Shanquella had drunk too much and had alcohol poisoning, so she wasn't feeling too well. He later called back to tell her that medical staff were in their room and were trying to resuscitate Shanquella. And when she passed away, he then told her that the resuscitation attempts had not been successful. KHALIL and the rest of the group decided to cut their holiday trip short and return home to North Carolina.
So, Shanquilla Robinson went to Cabo with these friends on October 28th, and they were there for 24 hours, but she did not return home. The Mexican officials are saying there is no clear evidence of foul play. The autopsy report is saying that she had a broken neck and a cracked spine, which is a severe spinal injury, okay? The Mexican officials stated on their report that she was found unconscious in her living room, okay? 7 people checked into the villa. 1 person called the concierge, which that person called a doctor, which they tried to resuscitate Shanquilla. It is stated that she died 15 minutes after her injury, okay? That's important. On her death certificate, it says, there's a box that's checked. It says accidental or violent death. And it's checked, so it's not clear as to what they meant to check, the accidental part or the violent death part. Now, if you guys saw the video of them fighting, Shanquilla and another woman, I believe it's her, there was a man who was recording and he's like, why won't you fight back? And Shanquilla is like, no. The real question was, why are you fighting her naked and she's not fighting back? It's time to end this. I am very afraid for this generation. I'm very afraid for these so-called friends. I feel as if these days it is perfectly fine to be solo bolo. Now, some people are saying it's jealousy. Some people are saying that there might have been an issue before coming to Cabo. Now, when you're booking a trip, it can get really hectic. Everybody's trying to chip in. Everybody's trying to pay. Some people's, cards aren't working because now they're somewhere else in a different country. I'm not saying what the issue was. I'm just speculating. But at this point, I have more questions than I have answers. Where were the other friends when this was happening? No one wanted to speak up and stop this. And then to come to my mother's house, KHALIL, and then 2 other females, to come to my mother's house and sit in her face and tell her that I died of alcohol poisoning. There was no mention of alcohol poisoning on either of the death certificates, okay? On any of the reports, I didn't see anything of alcohol poisoning. And even a lot of her friends chimed in from social media to say that they have been out drinking with Shanquilla and she's never had alcohol poisoning, maybe a headache or a little hangover, but nothing that extreme. And all of these adults are telling different stories. I honestly feel like we need to take all of them into questioning. Their bodies need to be photographed. The women's hands need to be photographed to see if anyone has any cuts or marks or anything. When you're fighting someone, hitting them repeatedly, you're going to have some kind of injury to yourself.
Now, I was really debating even talking about this, but I feel like we need to be talking about it. Shanquilla Robinson's case hit me so hard because it could have been me. It could have been you. It could have been any of us. I am positive that when that fight went down, nobody was expecting for somebody to lose their life. But that's how fast your world can change with all of this energy going on right now. Old ways of being is not going to thrive in this new space. It's just not. And all I seen in that video was just ignorance and low vibrations. I'm not even being funny because that's the old way of doing things. Pull your phone out, record, and what the fuck? Because let's be for real. If Shanquilla wouldn't have lost her life, what was going to happen after the fight? Nobody thought about that. Like, okay, we got to stay in this room together and we're out of town together. So what was they going to do after the fight? Kiss and make up? No. But nobody even thought about that because y'all operating so low. Y'all so used to doing the same shit. Nobody even was the bigger person to say we not doing this. For one, because we grown as fuck. But a lot of people are still thrive off that energy. They thrive off of gossiping and fighting and drinking and smoking. It's not going to give in this new space. Being ignorant is not cute anymore. It's not cute. It's not giving. Everything you watch, everything you speak to yourself, the company you keep, baby, it fucking matters. It just makes me so sad because Oh my God. It makes me so sad because I know that Shanquilla might have thought that she was amongst friends. And I know that these friends, I don't think they planned it. I don't think they put a hit on her. I think they was used to operating that way. You thought it was just going to be a fight and somebody fucking lost their life because you wanted to be ignorant. Because y'all just want to keep playing around. You want to keep perpetuating old ways of being. You want to keep being toxic. You want to keep living in your ego. You want to post on the gram. You want to be low. And now you cost somebody their life. Y'all need to wake the fuck up and do better.